Let's bring in Tennessee Senator and gubernatorial candidate Marsha Blackburn. She's a member of the Joint Economic Committee. Senator, always nice to see you. President Trump is kind of in his natural environment right now. He's out on the trail in Iowa. He's pitching his message to voters. The goal here isn't to push himself across the finish line. It's to get Republicans across the finish line. How important is it that he's out there doing this right now, Senator?
Oh, it is so vitally important. He does have the biggest microphone, and people are listening to what he's saying and talking about the working families tax cuts and how important that is. Our seniors getting that $6,000 deduction. That is going to be so important when they're filing their income tax. No tax on tips or overtime, restoring R&D. Interest expensing. These are things that for every individual, for every small business, they are going to make a difference. People are going to get bigger refunds this year. And so I keep saying, get your paperwork done so that your refund check can be in your bank account and you can see what a difference the Trump tax cuts and the working families tax cut bill is going to do for you.
Senator Blackburn, the president was also talking about keeping control of Congress and how it's difficult to do for the sitting president historically. He mentioned if the Democrats gain control of Congress, well, they'll probably try to impeach him again. He eye-rolled there. But they will make it difficult to pass legislation. What do you think the chances are that the president can buck the trend, the historical trend that is, and be able to keep the House and Senate?
President Donald Trump made promises as a candidate, and he has kept those promises. Our border is secure. Inflation, look, we're down from, it was 9.1% under Joe Biden, and it is 2.5%. And that is a massive difference, and it is still coming down, and prices are beginning to come down. He has kept that promise. He has restored our standing on the world stage. He is doing his part to make certain that our states are prosperous, that people have access to health care. This is what the American people wanted to see. It is important for him to sell that message. And it is important for people to realize that the Republican-led House and Senate are working with him to make these promises work for the American people. Every day, Donald J. Trump gets up and says, how can I make life better for Americans? Every day, we are seeing his administration turn back regulation and power and authority for education and healthcare and energy and benefits in so many different areas back to the states. And he is really making the states great again and getting government back closer to the people.
Senator, let me bring up one of those issues, and it's definitely an issue in certain states, my home state of Minnesota right now, but ICE, okay? The president's kept his promises on the border, but your Democratic colleagues are talking about shutting down the government over ICE funding. How damaging, we just went through one of these obviously, how damaging would it be if the government gets shut down again over ICE funding? And is there any way to avoid it in your view?
Oh, I do think there is a way to avoid it, because when you talk about DHS and everything that is funded there, you are talking about many of our Coast Guard operations, you are talking about TSA, you're talking about FEMA. And I'm from Tennessee. I live in Middle Tennessee, and we have had a massive ice storm. People are really digging out, and you've got hundreds of thousands of people that are still without any power to their homes and to their businesses. So it would be a big mistake to limit that DHS funding at this point. And I think that what you'll see is the American people really don't want to see a government shutdown. What they want to see is government work for them.
Senator, the prediction markets have the chances of a shutdown at 80%. They usually tend to be right, and Democrats can make things difficult. But you mentioned your home state of Tennessee and the power outages because of the storm. We're also hearing that there's potentially another winter weather event following this one that we just braved as we're digging out. Senator, how is the state of affairs with folks getting back on their feet in Tennessee and those outages coming back for the people that need them?
Let me tell you, it is very, very difficult, and it is going to take a while. So many trees are down, power lines are down. We don't have enough linemen out working in the state, especially in the mid-state area, to get these lines back up. When you have the massive amounts of ice, sleet, freezing rain that are on trees and on power lines, you have a tremendous amount of damage. And I know as people begin to get in their houses and as the temperatures jump above freezing over the next few days, then that's when people are going to realize there's an ice dam that is thawing in their business or their residence, and they're going to have additional damage that they're going to be dealing with. This is going to take a while. Yesterday afternoon, Nashville Electric Service had 175,000 customers that were without power. And when you think about that as businesses and residences and multiply that out, that is a whole lot of people that are still without any services. But our governor and the National Guard and the Highway Patrol and local law enforcement are out checking on people and trying to get them out of homes, move them to safety. And the president was rock solid with us. He signed that emergency declaration that our governor sent immediately. So FEMA and those resources are coming into the mid-state to help.
Well, that's very good to hear. Prayers continue for everybody in Tennessee and all those affected by the storms. And we know that neighbors are helping neighbors, and that's critically important in times like this. Senator, very nice to see you.
Yes,
Thanks for being
yes.
with us today. Take care.
Good to see you. Thank you.
All right.